This year was unique for real estate. Although the pandemic slowed most of the economy, the housing sector exploded in 2020. In fact, it has had almost unprecedented success. Buyer demand skyrocketed up to 40% at one point, bidding wars were constant, and mortgage rates hit lows. They hit new highs more than a dozen times, according to Freddie Mac. The market has even weathered the traditional fall slowdown, with unusually strong demand in the colder months. All of this despite a worsening pandemic. But 2020 is almost, finally, over. Will this also be the end of the current real estate boom? Probably not. According to experts, we can expect, among other things, lower interest rates, still rising prices and an ongoing exodus to the suburbs. Here's a look at what to expect in new year home construction. Mortgage rates remain low. If you haven't gone refinancing at the moment, it looks like you still have some time. Most experts believe that mortgage rates will stay low for some time, through 2021 and beyond. We are cautiously optimistic that mortgage rates will remain low and even decline slightly in the short to medium term, said Rich Weidel, CEO of Princeton Mortgage, a New Jersey-based mortgage company. Forecasts by the Mortgage Bankers Association, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac and Realtor.com predict an average 30-year interest rate of between 2.9% and 3.4% throughout the year. This is technically higher than the current average of 2.67%, but historically it is still extremely low. Consumers will likely see the lowest rates early in the year, before COVID-19 vaccines become widely available. They will then increase, at least slightly, in the second half of 2021. Mortgage rates and the economy have an interesting relationship, said Ali Wolf, chief economist at Zonda Home, a real estate research firm. Economists and analysts expect economic activity to pick up in the second half of 2021 once the vaccine is widely used. A strong one. To begin, house prices will continue to rise, but vaccines can ease the pressure. Due to strong demand and extremely limited inventory, the lowest in history, property prices rose in 2020. Property prices rose 12.7% between November 2019 and November 2020, according to Realtor.com's latest property report. 12.2% increase observed in October. Fortunately, it looks like prices won't rise anytime soon in 2021. Although a sharp spike is expected at the beginning of the year, CoreLogic's chief economist Frank Nothift predicts that price growth will increase general public. As soon as a large part of the population is vaccinated and the pandemic subsides in warmer temperatures, we expect more stocks to come onto the market, said Nothift. Many older owners who had planned to sell in 2020 have decided to postpone their listing until the risk of a pandemic has subsided. If this happens in the middle of the year, the increase in offers for sale in the second half of the year, along with the construction of a single-family home, will facilitate price growth. Overall, Nothift forecasts a growth rate of 2.1% for the year. Danielle Hale, chief economist at Realtor.com, predicts a higher appreciation of 5.7%, although that's still lower than it was in 2020. This is a much more manageable rate of increase than the recent double-digit percentages, said Hale. But stable or rising mortgage rates do not offer the same compensation as they did in 2020, so monthly mortgage payments will rise and be more of a challenge than they were in 2020. The competition will wear off, unless Biden can pass an expensive residential property tax credit. Things can get better in the competition department too. In October, 56% of all offers submitted by Redfin agents were competitive. This is a decrease of 57% in September and 59% in August. Fortunately, it looks like the downward trend could continue, especially as we start the new year. According to Hale, the number of listings for sale is expected to increase through most of 2021, easing some of the inventory challenges for buyers in 2020. From October there was only an offer of 3.3 months of houses on the market, the lowest point on record. For buyers, it basically means they can see more properties for sale and feel less competition in the market later in the year, said Hale. One thing that might throw a crease in that perspective. This would be the tax incentive proposed by President-elect Joe Biden, which would offer first-time homebuyers an advance of $15,000 to be used towards their down payment. If the credit is approved by Congress, Wolf said it could increase competition. Home buyers say saving for a down payment is the biggest hurdle they face when buying a home, said Wolf. The $15,000 first-time home buyer tax credit is a targeted measure to help overcome this barrier. However, buyers should set their expectations accordingly. If the proposal becomes a reality, the housing market will be even more competitive. According to Wolf, issuing the $25 billion annually loan is unlikely to be a high priority at the start of Biden's tenure, especially when the market is doing that well. It is unlikely that the first-time buyer tax credit is a policy for the first day or even for the first month, said Wolf. This is in part because housing is already the strongest industry and requires fewer incentives than some other industries negatively affected by the pandemic. When the policy was in place, Wolf said his fate would likely depend on who controls Congress. The second round of the Georgia Senate in January is the X factor, she said. The houses are getting bigger and have more health-related equipment. Most experts believe that new home construction will increase in 2021, especially if demand remains strong. This was already done in the second half of the year, with housing construction increasing by almost 15% per year in October. Housing starts are expected to rise another 9% in the new year, according to Realtor.com. These new properties will surely solve some of the supply bottlenecks that buyers face, but they will also give home builders the ability to better align themselves with consumer preferences, which have changed dramatically during the pandemic. Especially, people want more space. Because people are using their homes more, consumers want bigger, more efficient homes, said Robert Dietz, chief economist with the National Home Builders Association. We expect the median size of new homes will increase after 4 years of decline. The third quarter data already shows this trend in action. According to the NAHB, the average area of a new single-family home is now 2,487 square feet, an increase of 5% since the Great Recession. Open floor plans, once a staple for building new homes, are also on their way out thanks to COVID-19. As Frederick Warburg Peters, CEO of Warburg Realty, said, "When everyone is there all the time, defined spaces, with doors, become all the more desirable." Also on the list of requirements in a post-COVID world for health-related devices and functions that increase energy efficiency. Home buyers are increasingly interested in features that can save them money every month, such as water protection features, energy-efficient appliances and UV-resistant windows, said Philippe Lord, COO of Meritage Homes, a Texas-based construction company. Air filter systems and maintenance technologies, those that monitor air and water quality, detect pipe leaks, and alert consumers when to change air filters, are also gaining momentum.